Nigeria and South Africa have agreed to finalize a 5-year-old memorandum of understanding on early warning mechanism, which monitors threats of violence, acts of criminality, and reprisals, including nationals of both countries. The decision was announced in the communique released at the end of the 11th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission in Cape Town. In the wake of the attacks on Nigerians in South Africa, both countries agreed to establish early warning mechanisms to prevent such attacks. Our public affairs analyst, Mustafa Ewela, joins me now for more on the conversation on the Nigeria, South Africa, Commission, and of course the recent visa, relaxation and all of that for Nigerian businesses and of course Nigerians generally. Many thanks for joining me, Mustafa.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Justin.
All right, Nigeria and South Africa, they've had some sort of warm, cold relationship over the past years. We've had mutual understanding and bilateral relations for over 30 years. And just yesterday, it is all over the news that South Africa is actually relaxing a visa requirement for Nigerian businesses. Is this a welcome development? What are your thoughts? Really?
Yes, I'd say that it's a welcome development. For a country as South Africa to be relapsing visa requirement, because I know that one time I had a family member that had to go to South Africa for a business trip, and it was a tug of war to get a visa. So for me, I say this is a welcome development, and I'm so happy with the relationship that the current President Bola Tinubu, and the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, I'm happy with the cordial relationship they have between them. However, I think that, again, as Africans, I think we should be getting to stages where to travel to an African country, you not even need a visa.
Okay.
If you, for example, if you go to the UK, for example, as a British citizen, you can travel to the US without a visa. Okay. So those are meaningful, relationships between those countries. And I think that even as African countries, we also need to be looking at, getting to that, that part of our country. But I must say once again that, relapsing visa requirements for me is a step in the right direction. But there are other salient issues that I think that South Africa and the Nigerian government needs to...
Okay, before we get into other issues, let's still talk about what you just mentioned. You're talking about a free entry into South Africa and Nigeria, and vice versa. We have that, understanding with the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Over time, we've had AU, African Union, for a while. But why is it taking us so long to actually normalize what you just mentioned about free entry, as in, and free exit into African countries? Because one would think that we're almost like brothers and sisters, and we understand and we have some common denomination that all of these issues should not really abound just to get into another African country.
So looking at a country like South Africa that's arguably the largest economy in Africa right now, with the GDP of about $373 billion US. Naturally, you will see that if you look at South Africa, we have a lot of Nigerians who run businesses there, and they are doing well. Just the same way we have a lot of South African businesses in Nigeria too. So there's always a lot of factors that comes into play when we are talking about border and traveling policies and policies that have to do with visa requirement within different countries. I tell you that to get a Nigerian visa from UK is one of the most difficult things for anybody in the UK.
Wow.
Even to get so the same way to get visas for similar African countries is also very difficult for some people to get Nigerian visa too, to come into Nigeria too. So it's vice versa. And again, I think that one of the reasons why companies or countries don't make this process so seamless is just to be able to be accountable, to know who's coming into the country, what they are coming for. We've lost count of how many applications are being turned down every day from embassies. Go to UK embassy, go to Schengen, the American embassy every day. So it's not because they don't want to give these visas, but they have to put a check to these things.
Okay, even if they have to do that, now, but what about those who actually meet those requirements? For instance, if you actually come into genuine business, so I know it shouldn't be an all-commerce affairs, but then if you have legit business that you are coming to do, and of course you've had all those due diligence, why should the processes be so hard with immigration?
So again, as a country, you have a duty of care to make sure that your borders are thoroughly checked. Who comes in, who goes out. So you might think that you have all it takes to enter South Africa. You might think that you have all it takes to go to America, but they have their modus operandi. They have their rules and regulations that you must abide to, or that you must meet up to before you are given a visa. So it's not as easy as we think that it should be. But again, I think that we as Africans, we must continue to say that there must be cordial relationships between countries. South Africa is, like I said, is a thriving economy right now. The GDP is the highest in Africa, followed by Egypt, followed by Algeria. Nigeria is about the 5th in Africa right now. But again, a lot of businesses in Africa, and mainly what they rely on, mainly South Africa right now, is manufacturing.
Okay.
Is manufacturing, but again, like I said, bringing down or looking for easier visa requirements is a good step.
Okay.
Again, there are other issues that is also very important.
Okay, let's talk about these other issues. For instance, aside from the immigration and policies between both countries,
there are other issues. Justin, we are all witness to what happened a few years ago during the time of xenophobic.
I was going to go.
During the time when a Nigerian-owned car dealership was burned down to ashes. So all these are issues that, because it's not enough to give people visa.
Okay.
When you give people visa to come and do business,
yes,
how do you secure their businesses?
So that's what I was going to go. That's what I was going to go about, because there's been this friend-foe, relationship between South Africa and Nigeria, especially with Nigerians living in South Africa. Sort of the xenophobia attack that you rightly said. But you also agree with me that even South Africans' business are really thriving. We have one of the biggest, telecoms giant here in Nigeria, thriving.
Even multi-choice, a
lot of them. So how come we've not been able to address? I hope it's one of the issues that were addressed yesterday at BNC, because we need to get all of this in the board, nip all of this in the board. If not, like you said, South Africa has the biggest economy in Africa, and of course Nigeria is also a giant. There are so mutual and beneficial things and businesses that both countries can do. So, but why is it that there's always this undertone of rivalry, between both countries?
So see, many of these issues stem from political, social, and economic factors, and it is often, colored with a lot of stereotypes and misinformation.
True.
So South Africans in their head would think that, Nigerians just comes here, takes our wife, marry all our girls, or they just come here, take all our businesses. It's not so like that. There's no country in the world that you go to that you don't find a Nigerian. And trust me,
because we're good businessmen.
Because we're good businessmen. There's any country you go to, you don't find a Nigerian there, or particularly an Igbo man. Run away. That means our country is not viable. Okay. So I've been to fairly about 13 countries in this world. I can tell you that Nigerians are everywhere doing well. So away from all those misinformation on social media, Nigerians are doing this, they are also contributing to their GDP over there.
True.
Some of the biggest car dealership in South Africa is owned by Nigerians. A lot of big businesses are owned by Nigeria, just like we have them here too. So we must continue to say that no matter your color, no matter your racial difference, then we must continue to understand that the world is a global village, and we must accommodate ourselves. Because business, whether we like it or not, everybody's just trying to make ends meet. So away from all those racial issues and all that, we must just ensure that business-wise, we're all making money either ways.
Okay. So, but then, what other aspect can both countries actually, work on? For instance, you talked about how the South African manufacturing sector is grand, but our manufacturing sector here is threatened with lots of issues with government policies, bad reforms going on. And the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria each time comes out to say that the manufacturing sector is actually dying, but it is booming in South Africa. So what are the things to learn from South Africa?
No, of course, there's so much to learn from South Africa. Like I said, South Africa right now, the GDP is about 373 billion. The economy is the biggest right now in Africa. So, in Nigeria, look at what happened just last week. We've come here to talk about interest rate. Last week, again, the CBN increased our interest rate here. We've not seen South African government increasing interest rate every other month like that. So, those are lessons to learn. So, if we are trying to fight inflation, if we are trying to fight or to have a stable economy, increasing the interest rate, we have seen that it does not work in Nigeria in a way to curb inflation. It does not work. So we now have to think out through another way of saying, how do we curb inflation? How do we make the economy more stable? Because it's going to cause a lot of widespread apathy on investors that want to come into this country. Last week, it was very laughable for me to see that. I mean, that's like the 4th time this year that Cardoso is going to increase the interest rates. So those are issues. That's why our economy, manufacturing industry is almost dying. Go to the farming sector, everybody's lamenting. Go to the manufacturers, abandoned warehouses everywhere, nobody's producing anything. Cost of electricity has gone up. So those are issues. So for South Africa, so I mean, at one point in this country, or in this, Nigeria was the biggest economy in Africa in terms of GDP.
True.
So we've had countries like Egypt overtake us. We've had countries like Algeria overtake us. So Nigeria now is struggling to just be within the first top 5. So those are issues. So I think that if we really want to have a stable economy, our monetary policy committee must ensure that we take a cue from countries like South Africa. What are they doing? South Africa is just a population of 60 million people. 60 million people. Nigeria were about 230 million, 223 million. I don't even know the last time we did the census. So those are issues. But we know that we're the largest in terms of population, but not in terms of GDP, not in terms of any significant growth. So all these are issues. So I just think that if there's a political will by the government, and I'm saying that this current government is trying, they are trying really hard just to see how they can do a lot of,
The Nigerians are not feeling the impact.
Yes, so they are trying really hard to see how a lot of changes can be done within the economy. But yes, are the Nigerians feeling that impact yet? No. But I think that it will take a while. But Nigerians,
how long?
Nigerians
before we think about this, how long is a while before we start seeing the benefits?
I don't even have that patience to wait to see the manifestation.
Because most Nigerians cannot actually even go to bed with food in their stomachs.
During the last quarter of this year, there was a significant growth in our GDP, about 3% or thereabout.
Minimally.
Yeah, minimally. So there's something is shifting, but we are not feeling the impact yet. But I know that within the first quarter or second quarter of next year, we'll start to feel that impact.
I wish I would share your optimism.
Yes, that's so. I mean, let's not underplay that. There's a lot of a lot of improvement going on the ground, but in the next, like I said, quarter, first, second, third, we'll start to see the manifestation. So generally, I just think that as African countries, we should be getting to stages where we'll be seeing. I can pick up my bag and say, I want to go to South Africa tomorrow morning, and I'm just buying a ticket, and I'm getting there, and it's done. The last time I went to Kenya, it was visa on arrival. We should start seeing. I think we should start going back to days like that. Traveling was easy. As of last year, South Africa had about 500,000 illegal immigrants in South Africa. Illegal Nigerians who were illegal immigrants living in South Africa. So those are issues. So it's not just enough to give them visas, give them residency, give them permits to stay and do their businesses efficiently.
But if
not to run businesses as illegal immigrants, you know what I mean?
I get you. So if they've been granted visas, and it's actually multi-entry visa for 5 years for genuine businesses. Yes. But I'm sure if you are coming to do business and all that, you should have all it takes to even get the residency over time. It's like
the process of getting visa
are they too hard?
Might be easy, but the process of getting residency is not that.
That's
easy.
If you want to stay.
If you want to live and stay, because for you to have a business, you must stay and watch over your business.
Okay.
You don't want to have you want to
you
have
to always come and go.
Not here. You understand what I mean? So also the process of granting people stay for them to stay and watch over their businesses is also very germane. Not just visa to come and travel back and forth. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of issues surrounding that, immigration sector and all that. But I just think that is a gradual process.
But you think that maybe in the next couple of maybe months, years, we might see some of this, things that we are hoping to see in terms of residency and other immigration, relaxation, because it is right now. There's so much of benefits that each country can get from the other.
Yeah, so like I said, it's a two-way relationship. It's kind of, it should be symbiotic.
It's like ours is easier because we have lots of expatriates here in Nigeria.
Most of those expatriates do not have permit to
just leave
residence. They don't have it so like I said,
how long do they stay and go? They can't come back.
To get visa to go to South Africa. it's also very difficult to get Nigerian visa. Ask people who live abroad. I know somebody in the UK now who is trying to get visa to come to Nigeria, and she's a Nigerian. It's difficult.
You invite her then.
People will be left out of the invitation. So those are issues. And I know somebody who's been staying here for how many years.
Yeah.
He does not have a stay to stay.
Okay.
So we have a lot of illegal immigrants here in Nigeria too that are foreigners too who do not have stay. That's why sometimes you see police going to our houses to pick them up.
But they're also hiding too.
Yes, they're also hiding too. We have the Chinese. We have a lot of them. So the process of getting citizenship or stay is not so easy as we think. But with a matter of addressing these issues with the government, with the two government, I think that.
But one would have thought with the African Continental Free Trade Area that is actually on stream, that all of these issues would have been put on the front burner, because for you to make your trade very, very expandable and very free for all comers in Africa, all of these visa and immigration restrictions should have been done not just between South Africa and Nigeria, but of course the African Union, because we have similar relationship in Europe. So how come and they're doing business and they're free entry and free exit? If you get a Schengen visa, you can actually just move within Europe. But why are we not doing that? But how soon can we get there? Because we need to move business and trade forward in Africa, not just the West African sub-region. In how many years time do you see that happening in Africa?
So for me, I think that for any country that wants to witness significant growth in their economy, your borders must not be porous, but you must make it very easy for people to come in, do business. All right. Come out, go back to business, back and forth. You must make that border very accessible for people to cross over and do their business and come back. That's how countries grow. Okay. Go to the UK now. We have all parts, everybody in the world has somebody in the UK from different tribes, different race, and they're all business owners doing. That's how our economy is thriving. Okay. It's the same thing as America, the same thing as Canada. So it's something that we can do.
So the word is trade liberalization.
Yes, it is. I agree.
Okay, thank you so much, Mustafa. We have to draw the curtain on today's edition. My director is actually chasing me out of the studio. Not so very big thank you to you for being a part of the show. Okay, that's as much as we have time on the show for today. Business Insight will return to your screen same time next time. My name is Justin Academy, and I've had Mustafa Ewinla, public affairs analyst, join me to look at visa regulations between Africans and, of course, specifically Nigeria and South Africa. Bye for now.